Get ready to be inspired by the great things happening in rural education. The Rural Scoop will bring you new ideas and innovative solutions. We'll dive into education issues and we'll highlight what's working in your rural communities. You'll hear from a variety of educators, administrators, professionals, and others who will provide relevant and engaging content in each episode. And now, for a special episode recorded at the Arizona Rural Schools Association Conference, here's your host, Ty White.
All right. So first question, just to break the ice and show that there's no trick questions in this room. Would you introduce yourself, share your name? Have you been to the ARSA conference before?
Yeah, so my name is Jeff Williams with Capturing Kids' Hearts. This is my second time to attend the conference. And I love being here.
Okay. Anything that attracted you to the Resilient Rural Conference?
Probably the people. Getting to meet some of the administrators in some of the rural areas. A lot more open to talk to us. I see a lot of needs in the rural schools. Just with having, finding out what's out there for them to be able to utilize and be able to bring to their district or their campuses for their students and their staff.
Okay. So you say you're here as a vendor, right, with Capturing Kids' Hearts. Mm-hmm. What is it that you're offering to rural schools?
Yeah, so Capturing Kids' Hearts, we build a model process that helps teachers, administrators not only connect with students, but help connect with each other. So it's a model process that Flip Flippin developed over 40 years ago. He's been doing it forever all across the country. I mean, even across the nation. And so what we do is we come in and, it's a model process that principals, teachers, all the way down even to students that can use. So how do you create that connectivity? What is it you're actually doing we talk about relational capacity. If you define relational capacity, how do you connect with people? And this is a way, an actual physical way that we come in and train and teach of how to create that connectedness.
I'm assuming you've been to some others. What do you look forward to most when you come to a rural conference like this?
Well, I love being able to partner rural schools together. I think they have a disadvantage of, not having the resources or some of the things that are out there that a lot of the larger districts have. And what I love is just the partnerships of being able to, everyone's going to benefit. If kids win, then the rural schools win, everybody wins. And so finding unique ways to be able to partner those, that whether they're in the same area, have the same demographics, whatever it be, how do we partner that together so that everybody can benefit from it? So I just love the camaraderie and just being able to connect different districts and what they come from to share those things. So,
okay. Can you tell us about your own rural experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually raised in a rural school area, moved out there, kind of dropped off as a young kid. Didn't have a lot of advantages growing up, didn't have a lot of influences, good, positive influences. So I really leaned on the school district that I was in. A new superintendent to a rural school area, wasn't highly, sought after because the person, prior to him had been there, 16 plus years. So the new guy in town wasn't, highly revered, but his heart and passion were throwaway kids. And I was one of them. I remember him showing up and getting me to come back to school. And I just think the way that he ran the district, the teachers, being able to create that, again, everyone's going to go through school, but being able to build that relational capacity so that people want to be there is a huge component. I think you see that more in rural schools than you see anywhere else. So you're not just a number, you're an actual person. And so that's the benefit. I see that. And I think in rural schools, you can move the dial a lot faster. I think, from top down, board, administrators, teachers, principals, you're able to move the dial. So.
One of my favorite parts of this particular ARSA conference is that they highlight and celebrate 10 outstanding teachers from across the state. Ultimately, one is selected to become the teacher the teacher of the year, represents rural schools in Arizona. But I guess I want to take a moment and ask you who you'd like to shout out from your history. If there's a teacher, someone who's had an impact on you.
Yeah, so I would say Miss Henson. She was my algebra teacher. I wasn't very good at math, and I was in a remedial math class, but she was someone that helped me through that. She was somebody that took a chance on a kid that probably didn't have a lot going for him, and so she would have been had they given that award back then, she'd have been one that I would see give it. But even the ones now that are receiving that, being able to replicate what that looks like. So not just the teachers that are selected for being able to, to be the teacher of the year. So how do we make it so that every single teacher, has a chance to get that recognition? How are we ensuring that they're able to create that? And so, but I love the award, and I love the celebration of it, being able to celebrate success for teachers that are doing that. So that hopefully people see it and then figure out their own ways how to replicate it.
Sure. So one of your answers earlier talked about the value of the networking here. And so, like, I'm sure there's people that aren't here that ought to be. What would you say to them about this experience that might change their mind, might bring them in next year?
Yeah, I think, again, the networking of the resources, I think being able to partner with several, whether it be a vendor or another school district or, whatever the needs are, if being able to have a resource to fill that need is a huge benefit. And then I think, again, I'm always going to, spin off the relationship. The relationships that you build, I truly don't think people quit where they're at or quit their job. I think people quit people. And so when you can create that connectedness and that network of friends and colleagues and, just other districts, it's a huge benefit to be able to share that and compare it. And I would highly, highly recommend people coming, to see the network, meet the people, and experience what they have to offer here at the conference. It's amazing.
Very cool. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for listening to the Rural Scoop. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, or even leave us a comment. And be sure to follow on Twitter at Dr. Sadorf. That's Dr_SADORF, so that you never miss a new release. You can also check out previous episodes of The Scoop wherever you get your podcasts. Production support for the Rural Scoop is provided by Chattanooga Podcast Studios. Find out more at ChattanoogaPodcastStudios.com. See you next time for more great discussions about rural education.